Okay, welcome everyone. Tonight we are in the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming Night. The last, maybe not the last game on the calendar, but close enough. We're all playing the Mustang, which is a game by John Harper on two pieces of paper. So let's see how this goes. My name is Donna. I'm based in Dublin, Ireland. I've been playing with the Gauntlet for a few years, so this is nothing new for me. This is the first time I played this game, though, so looking forward to that. My pronouns are he, him, and so we are going to do quick intros from everyone. Let's do it in character keep order, left to right. Tonight I'm going to be playing Trent, who has gathered this group of people together to hunt down the Mustang.
My name is Elise. My pronouns are they, them. Today I'm going to be playing Cassie. Cassie is in love with Trent. She followed Trent here to try and fight the Mustang, and I believe she also made a shield to protect from the Mustang. She made a shield out of sheet metal and rope to protect Trent from the Mustang's fire.
And I'm Jim Crocker. I played with Donna a whole bunch, so that's exciting. But I think this is my first time. I'm not sure whether it's my first game playing with our other two players here or not. But I'm really looking forward to this. Folks that know me from outside the Gauntlet may know me because they bought games from me. I sell games at conventions all up and down the East Coast, and I'm not doing a lot of that right now. But if you're interested in what I've got going on, you can find me on Twitter at Jim Likes Games, just like it sounds. I've got a website, jimlikesgames.com, so you can find me there. I am going to be playing Jack. Jack is a young man from the hills. He's calm and quiet. He steals glances at William when he thinks no one is looking. He brought his father's rifle with him to shoot the Mustang and cut crosses into the noses of the bullets just in case.
Hey everyone, I'm Jam, aka Tech Ghoul. I love games and talk about them a lot on Twitter. This is my first time gaming with Donna or Jim, and I'll be playing. My pronouns are he, him. I will be playing William. William's a young man from town. He's brave and faithful. He came with us tonight without being asked, and he brought the word to still the Mustang's black heart.
Okay, great. So here's some intro text for us. The Mustang is a living nightmare, a soot-black stallion with eyes like burning coals, breath of flame, and hooves of ringing steel. It's swift and deadly. It is everything that is savage and cruel given physical form. We're all crouched outside the lair of the Mustang, near the burned tree. My friends are with me, exchanging nervous looks. Like me, they're having second thoughts. Like me, they smell death on the air and wonder if it's their own. Cassie has a big piece of sheet metal with rope across the back because the Mustang breathes fire. Jack has a rifle because the Mustang is far too swift to catch. And William has a Bible because the Mustang is the devil's steed. I have a knife because in the end, someone has to cut the Mustang's throat. It's the witching hour, the moon is full, and fresh blood is on the ground. The Mustang will surely run tonight. So, I think as we sit around this burned tree in the middle of the night, someone has brought a flask of whiskey, and we are killing time.
I actually brought a jug of the moonshine that my uncle makes up in the hills. So this is the real thing.
And I'll offer to hand roll a cigarette if anyone's interested.
Cassie's interested in that.
Sure. think William patiently rolls one up, hands it over. I think is there a grimness to everyone's activity? Certainly to William's, right? We're here out of necessity, but there's a little fear.
Yeah, I think certainly for Trent, he is standing very still, you know, and that maybe strikes some of you as unusual, but you know, he is not interested in the offered tobacco or whatever is going around, and I think he will take a drink out of the jug, seemingly out of just politeness.
Do you react at all? It's harsh.
Yeah, I think it stings a little, right?
Yep.
Jack, what on earth do your people put in this?
My uncle, he puts, I think it's mostly corn. He says that the silks, the corn silks, make it better. Gives you more bang for the buck. That's what he likes to say. I don't know.
I mean, given
It
that
all
there
tastes.
is,
It all kind of tastes the same to me.
I mean, I think there's $0 in this, so that's a lot of bang for bucks, right?
I mean, this is, you know, this is just fresh out of the still. Nothing added to it or anything like that.
Aren't you supposed to lay it down for a while to let it get a bit better? Or are you reckoning we don't have that much time on our hands?
You know, I wanted to make sure that I brought something. I mean, and this is, you know, this is what we make. So.
No, thank you, and thank your people. It's much appreciated. So I don't want to pressure anyone, but do we have a plan beyond time? Beyond waiting for it to find us?
I wonder if maybe William has encountered the Mustang before. Do you think maybe there's been an attempt to intercept the Mustang on his behalf, or that he was involved in previously?
Yeah, I think that's likely. So William leans close to the fire. I want you all to know that I've encountered this beast before, and the power of the good book was not enough to overcome it. Now, I haven't always lived my life as a church-going, God-fearing man, but I do respect the power above, and I was not enough alone. I barely escaped on my own. So I do appreciate all of us being here.
Well, I'm grateful for that, William. I mean, it was like he turned up on my door looking for me to be the next one to do this.
I hear things from above. I hear whispers. You're touched, Trent.
Well, I guess when you told me the story of what happened the last time, I know it wasn't an easy tale to tell, but that's when I came up with the idea for exactly what we would need to do to counter this beast's fire.
What happened?
Well, I think we all know, we all felt it when this beast came out of the prairie, when it came here to our town. I certainly felt it in my bones. I went out in the grass, in the tall grass at night, thinking that belief alone could protect me. And here the beast comes, fast as lightning out of the dark. I'll never forget. Rearing up in front of me, great big hooves pawing at the air, knocked me to the ground, breathing flames, I swear to God, out his nose. Now I don't know what saved me that night. I held my book close to my chest, but it ran off. But I do have this mark here on my shoulder where it stepped on me. My arm's not been the same since.
Well, at least we have this shield now. When we do encounter it, Trent, you'll be protected from its fire this time.
So, where did Cassie get this chain and sheet metal to protect against the fire?
I think she scrapped it. Like she went around town and found a bunch of like sheet scrap metal and some chain like outside of dumpsters and in the junkyard. And I think she melted it down and crafted this shield.
And did Cassie come up with this idea herself and like appear at Trent's door as soon as, or shortly after he had told her of this plan of his, or was this at direction?
I think when she decided she was going to follow Trent no matter what, she decided to make this shield.
So I think Trent sidles over to Cassie and puts a hand on this shield and says, even though he's sure it's not going to happen, it's not too late to go back.
Now, Trent, you can't get me to go anywhere. So you're stuck with me.
Not even if I ask nicely.
Sorry, I think I missed that.
Lost you for a sec.
Not even if I ask nicely?
Nope, sorry. Not if it involves me leaving you. Nope, no way, no how.
I was thinking of saying something stupid, but I'm pretty sure that'll get me nowhere. So I'll save it for later.
Can't say anything.
It's not like that won't happen again.
Trent, you can't say anything stupider than what we're doing right now.
William laughs out loud at that. He likes that.
I mean, stupid is bravery that doesn't work out, right, Jack? So
yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I think Trent's brave.
Well, I have my moments, I guess.
Well, as long as I'm back for chores tomorrow.
That's what you're afraid of, Jack? Not being back in time for chores?
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. I'm not nearly as scared of this thing as I am of my uncle. After growing up the mountain, this is it's nothing.
Jack, will you pass that jug again? A toast to your uncle.
Well, all right. Uncle Jethro.
Uncle Jethro.
So, Jack, what's the terrain like here in comparison to the mountain where you come from? You know, in what way does it kind of frighten you?
I think I grew up kind of up like up the hill where there's like there's a lot of trees and stuff, right? And we clear cut some of them. We cleared out a chunk on the side there. We built ourselves a couple of log cabins and whatever. And I think this is kind of down. We're down in the valley here, and I feel like this may even be there's like some gullies and stuff here. We gotta get like down to where we can't necessarily, we don't have like, are you familiar with the Badlands, Donna? Do you know what I'm talking about there?
Yeah.
So like it's not a thing where it's like, Mojave, we can see something coming from 50 miles away. There's like box canyons and all this kind of stuff and everything. And I think I've seen the Mustang twice from up on the mountain. So like looking down into the valley, and I've seen it, like the flame going, kind of winding its way through these box canyons down here on two separate occasions. And the first was the night my mother died. And the second was when it came to town. And I was like 5 the first time I saw it. And I think that's a thing that because I told you, Trent, I think I told you one time we were telling, we were drunk and telling crazy stories. And I would never admit to it sober, but yeah.
So yeah, I think Trent will put a hand on Jack's shoulder, give it a quiet squeeze. We're gonna get this thing tonight, Jack. It's not gonna torment us or the people we love anymore.
All right. I don't know if you can even, can you even kill something like that? I'm happy just to scare it away.
Well, I'm not sure this thing knows fear.
You hurt anything bad enough, you'll make it afraid. And that's where I kind of reach behind me and I take the rifle out and I, start checking it, check the breech, slide it out, do all of that.
So I think one thing maybe that has been evident in Trent's plan is the necessity not to be surprised by the Mustang. It'll come out of nowhere. Has Cassie got any insight into this? Has she got any inkling as to how to avoid being surprised by the Mustang?
I think Cassie, a little while ago, asked Will for a light for her cigarette and has been kind of looking, out in the distance, deep in thought, taking a few drags of her cigarette. And she says to Trent, I'm not sure how you can't be surprised by fire that just sneaks up on you, but I think that with this crew, if we stick together, with all these folks that have seen the Mustang already, we might spot him in time.
I got this covered. Trent, you asked me why I brought the rough stuff. And I turn around on the cart we brought in, I've got half a dozen more jugs of it. And I walk over to the, walk over there and I grab a jug. I grab 2 jugs. I hand them to you. And I hand them around to everybody. And I say, we spread this around. There's no way this thing's going to be able to, on fire like it is, come up with us without it going up. Cassie, you want to put that cigarette out before you?
All right, just give me a minute.
And we're gonna just liberally just make a big ring of this highly flammable moonshine that I brought from the still. And I think we had 1 jug to drink and half a dozen jugs that are not that, with the double X's on them, right? These are not this is basically kerosene, like turpentine, that I kind of brewed up for this. So we're just going to make a ring, kind of a big ring around our campsite, so that if the Mustang crosses that, it'll just light right up.
Okay. So I think, does anyone want anything else out of this scene, or will we have the Mustang enter?
I think it's good.
Okay. So yeah, I think Trent looks up, and I think there's a darkness out there, I think, that is not natural, right? And so maybe a split second before it crosses the firewall, Trent yells out for everyone to look that way. Here it comes. So, yeah. We have only 3 chances against the Mustang. The first chance is when the Mustang charges. Its fiery breath blazes forth and its hooves strike sparks. You have to stand your ground and face the flames if you want a chance. If Cassie can shield you from the fire, maybe you can cut out its burning tongue. So there's stuff here that we can do to fill in the fiction, but the prompt for our memory is, I remember Cassie standing on the edge of the old rail bridge with me, looking at our dark reflections in the water far below. The sun is high and bright in a clear blue sky. She reaches out to touch your hand. Memory is incomplete. We will have to show how it ends. So yeah, I guess Trent is, I don't know when we want to fill in that memory, maybe in a little bit, right before we roll the dice, maybe. If that works for you, Elise? Or do you want to do it now?
I'm sorry, you cut out again for just a second.
Oh, sorry. So when we're completing that memory, we can probably do it whenever we want. We can do it, at the end, right before we roll the dice. or we can do it now after we kind of write in the fiction, whatever you prefer.
I'm okay with either.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess Trent yells out, obviously, and I think he is pointing the Mustang out, as it crosses that firewall and maybe explodes into flames. So what does Cassie do with her shield and chain?
Yeah, I think it's pretty heavy, so she starts to lift it up, and of course she goes and she wants to shield Trent.
Yeah, and I think he holds out a hand to kind of steady her if she's in front of him with this wall shield, and maybe that's what sparks the memory. That I think the heat from that day was purely from the sun. Maybe the reflected heat off the water and the rail line itself maybe was giving off a lot of heat. Whereas now we're kind of encased in this Mustang flame.
Yeah.
What else does Cassie remember from that day?
So she remembers the heat too, from the sun. It was a really hot day. I think she had already decided to follow Trent, but I think that was the moment she decided that she wasn't going to run no matter how scary it got.
I think in that memory, Trent says something like, we could probably, jump off here and cool down that way, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure you're up for it. It's a long way down.
Cassie is totally up for that. Cassie doesn't even say anything. She just lets go of Trent's hand, runs, and jumps off into the water.
Okay. So, I guess we should roll that die. So, if you use roll for your party before, there's a bunch of D2s in the room, so you can just click one and re-roll it. I guess we want to just, so heads is good, tails is bad. We want to say like 1 is good, 2 is bad, or whichever way. Let's just stick with it.
I got a 2.
Okay, so so this shows her fate, good or ill. What happens to Cassie?
In the memory or right now?
Right now, yeah.
Right now. Yeah, I think maybe she can't quite get the shield up. Maybe her shoulder is a little hurt from the last time she tried to shield Trent, and she can't quite get it high enough.
So maybe maybe the Mustang like runs over the shield, and its weight presses Cassie into the ground, and there's flames kind of coming down from its hooves around them. Okay, so I think when that happens, maybe Trent is trapped in there too. I'm not sure whether he's trapped underneath it or whether his legs are trapped and he's kind of out of the edge. I'm not sure what makes more sense to you, Elise, for that.
I think maybe Trent is also trapped under the shield, safe from the fire.
Okay, yeah. So I think then he like shouts out a warning to William, and maybe this is not quite the plan, right? But the Mustang is standing on the shield, and it's triumphant in this early victory, but it's now kind of static, right? So maybe this is exactly the chance that William needs to shoot it.
It's actually me.
Oh,
It's
Jack
actually
is the.
Oh, sorry,
the-
Jack.
yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
no,
Mhm.
sorry. So yeah, I think
Yeah, and the Mustang is, is like down on you and is maybe like kind of stamping a hoof down, and you can actually see, like, I don't know if you ever seen that thing where like metal gets so hot that you can it gets almost translucent, and like as it stamps, maybe you can actually see the outline of its hoof, just for a moment, like on where you are there under the shield. And of course, it's all searing, and your clothes are smoldering and stuff like that. And Jack just like looks at the thing, narrows his eyes, and like takes 3 quick steps and like jumps up onto the back of that wagon, that all the moonshine was in. And he's, ratcheting, he's got a lever action like a Winchester, right? And he ratchets around in, and he sights down the end of it, and it's just, regular iron sights. And uh and he says, "I'm not just a boy now. Come on, come on." And, just starts, and this is just like bang, bang, bang.
so. The memory prompt for Jack is, I remember Jack pounding on my door in the dead of night, drunk and wailing. His face is bloody and swollen from the beating he has taken. Later, he cradles the rifle in his hands, talking about death. What happened that night? Or what did you tell Trent?
I told Trent that I took your advice and stood up to my uncle and told him that I wasn't gonna, just be a dog for him anymore. And he beat me to within an inch of my life. And you're right. And I should be able to do this, but I'm too much of a coward and I don't want to die. And if I stand up to him again, he'll kill me. And I can't just leave my little brother there.
So did Trent promise you anything after tonight? Maybe that he was going to get you and your brother free? Or is he taking Jack's presence here for granted?
Oh, I think that I came to you insisting that the only way for this to end is for us together to kill him. And that and you can tell me what you said to that, but clearly it hasn't happened yet.
I think Trent said, if after this night you really want to go through with that, I will help you, but you have to talk to William about it. We need, if you can convince William that this is the right course of action, that will convince me.
You should have just said no, because that would have been less cruel than making me go to William with this. But I will. He's, you know what? If he says, if he gives absolution, then look, Trent, both know I'm damned anyway. My family, what they've done, that's the blood in me is bad. It's got to stop somewhere.
I don't believe that. And I mean, if you believe that, I'm sorry.
It's not about believe. I see it with my own eyes.
And what evil do you do, Jack? I haven't seen any.
I do nothing. That's the evil that I do. Nothing. Man, this feels like a good time to end that scene and go to shooting the Mustang. Yeah, with that. Okay, so let's see. Give it a flip. So should I just? You've got them color coded, don't you?
Yeah.
Cool.
So you got the blue one.
I'm going to reroll selected. And I think it did actually roll. And I got a 2 as well.
So what's Jack's fate?
Jack's fate is that, bam, and the bullets just do this thing where we see them splatter as molten lead against its body, right? Like they're melted, the heat that it's putting off, they're melted by the time it hits. But then one of them, I get one of them and it hits it in the eye, and that actually, it rears back and whinnies and stamps that hoof one last time on the shield and charges off of it and just comes right at me. And I just, keep shooting as it comes at me. And it hits that wagon like a locomotive, and it explodes into flaming flinders, and I'm thrown up over its back, and I, land with a sickening thud with my right arm twisted way up behind my back in a way that looks completely unnatural. And I'm just kind of I'm still moving. I'm my left hand is kind of clawing to try and reach the rifle, but I'm out of commission.
Okay, and yeah, I guess onto William then. I think the Mustang starts to stamp and snort and kind of circle around us, and it is summoning up the devil himself. If William can still the creature with the word, maybe I can wrestle it by the neck and sink my knife deep into its throat. So, how does William approach this task?
So I think in the visions that William has seen, he knows the horse's true name in the tongue of the angels, and its original name, and he's able to invoke that, and it's not even something you say out loud, right? It's almost something you say with the eyes. But he does get warmed up clasping his Bible. You beast of the pit, you're glued to this soil, this earth, God's earth. You abomination, you nightmare from the dark. You will be held to this circle. And then he says the name.
And the memory prompt is, I remember William kneeling in the river beside me, his hands strong, lifting me from the water, a benediction still echoing in the air. William's eyes are clear and kind. I I feel free for the first time in years, but there's a question on my lips. I think, I think before this kind of baptism in the river, Trent was sure that he was just doing this for the form of it. Maybe this was the price William insisted on for his participation. And Trent said, maybe, it doesn't really matter. I'm just doing it to satisfy this ultimatum or this price of admission. But I think when it's happening, you can kind of see this, the scales fall from Trent's eyes, some kind of true belief that this is what has to happen. And I think the question is, Trent asks William, like, what if this is not enough? What if, what if God forsakes us in our moment of need?
I think William looks at Trent in that river, in that new white shirt, and says, then that too will be part of God's plan. We have to trust in that. Anything more would be pride.
I guess I have to hope that we are worthy instruments. I wonder what was like William's thoughts like before and after this baptism. Do we get any insight into that?
Yeah. I think I see William as a fairly unorthodox preacher, maybe even a backwoods sect. So I think he has a lot of trust. I think he himself has done bad things. I think he would be even unsurprised at the plan to get rid of Jack's uncle in some way, although he might redirect it from murder. But I think he believes in Trent, right? Like he does see God's hand here.
Okay, so you want to roll that die?
Yeah, I'm the orange.
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters, but there we go, 1.
So what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think the horse stops stamping on the metal with its one bad eye and just stands glued to the soil now. All 4 hooves on the ground, bucking at the neck a little bit, but strangely unable to charge and unable to flee for a moment at least.
And I guess before we move on, can we get a look at or the thoughts of Cassie and then Jack?
The thoughts, the like.
Yeah, so let's see the camera zoom in on them and maybe get some kind of voiceover or thoughts from them both.
Yeah, so I think Cassie's pretty wild. So she was like really struggling against the shield the whole time. So as soon as it comes off, as soon as William is able to get the shield off, she kind of like explodes out of like the area where she is and looks around and sees all the chaos and just tries to get her shield up again, but it's not working for her today.
And how about Jack?
Jack is just lying on there on his back, and like, just the kind of like, just the astonishing amount of pain, coming from that, that busted arm, and and I'm sure he's, whatever, got like burns and stuff on him and things like that. And like he kind of like just rolls over on his side to look at it just standing there, and smiles and just kind of like has finally managed to grab the rifle, and is just kind of pulls it to himself to clutch it, to kind of laying there on the ground, and he says, "You're not getting out of this, you son of a bitch. It's your last run."
Yeah, so I think Trent, Cassie has like lifted up that shield. He's free as well, and he draws the wicked butcher's knife that he has in his belt, and reaches up for the mane of the Mustang. I think he's wearing like rancher's gloves or something like that, so it doesn't burn immediately. But the flames that are kind of cascading now down the Mustang's body are definitely burning him. And I think, without a word, he kind of gazes across the clearing at William, and then just goes to cut out the Mustang's throat. So I reroll all of these dice, and ones are good, twos are bad. Okay, so 2 2s and 1 1. Yeah, okay. I was just seeing if there was any more delay on that because one of the dice flipped. Anyway, so that's okay, not fully terrible. So how does this go? So I think the Mustang's empty eye turns to Trent, and he is aware that this thing can still see him, can still regard him, even though he's on the blind side of the Mustang. And the mouth opens and this kind of flame comes out, and I think we see like a blanket of this alcohol residue burning on the ground under his feet, and that flame kind of sheeds down Trent's knife arm, all the way down and up his arm, just like clinging to him like it's napalm or something, and he starts to saw with that butcher's knife. And I think, eventually I think he starts screaming with the pain of it. I think in that kind of moment, right, we probably see Trent passing out from the pain, but it's almost like he is possessed. like he's on automatic pilot and is still cutting. What do you see at the end? Let's go back around the table. We'll start with Jack then.
What did we see at the end? I mean, I don't know. Do we know whether Trent lives through this or not, or are we just speaking for ourselves? What's going on?
So I guess I got 2 bad results and 1 good. So that I think is I don't know. Does that sound like either the mission is successful and Trent dies, or vice versa? I think.
I don't know. So I think that you know what? So do you want this to be, is this like an epilogue, or is this like what happens right in the moment that the Mustang is destroyed?
Yeah, I'm inclined to say let's do right in the moment, like what do we each see, and then we can go fast forward to an epilogue afterwards.
Okay. So I'm clutching that rifle and I'm looking at it and I'm kind of like, and it's all really surreal to me. I think like it's even stranger to me because I'm kind of sort of like half on the edge of consciousness, right? I'm just like basically like willing myself to stay conscious, to stay awake through all of this. And I think what I see is just, and kind of like what I end up fixating on is the knife just going up and down, and it's silver when it comes up, and then it goes into the Mustang's neck and it comes up, and it's like, red, and it goes down and it comes up, and it's yellow, and it goes down and it comes up, and it's like blue and starting to melt, right? And I say, and I just kind of whisper to myself, one more, Trent, one more. And you drive it in, and I pass out, just like everything goes black as I hear, and I don't like hear it, I like feel it through the ground, like it comes at me through the ground that I'm laying on. And it's the same sound that I heard it make. You know what? It sounds like my mother when she died giving birth to my little brother. That last scream that I heard her make before she was gone. It sounds like that to me as I pass out.
Okay, and William, what do you witness in those last moments?
I think in the circle, I see Trent kind of sawing away or slicing away at the horse's neck, and as his body is savagely burned, but he never loses focus. That arm keeps coming up and down, and he strikes a final blow, and I think the Mustang's head comes clean off and tumbles to the ground, and its body topples a minute after that. But I feel like Trent is in sore shape. Yeah.
Okay, and what does Cassie see?
Were you talking to me? I think I missed that again.
Yeah. What does Cassie see after that?
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think Cassie sees Trent get up out from under the shield to go towards the Mustang. Cassie gets really, really scared and starts freaking out. She frantically starts trying to get the shield up. She's really focused on that. But then she looks back over at Trent, and Trent is like engulfed in this flame and stabbing at the Mustang, and things go into like slow motion for her, and she drops the shield and she just screams and starts going for Trent, but she's just too late.
Okay. So yeah, I think Trent is lying on the ground. When the head of the Mustang gets chopped off, essentially, this gout of magma flame comes out and just engulfs his whole body, and he's just lying there. You can hear him breathing slowly and more painfully with every breath. I think when Cassie arrives over at him, he says, I was going to ask earlier, maybe you should send me home, but I guess it's too late for that.
Cassie starts crying. It can't be too late.
I think you better get William over here.
You're going to be fine, friend. You're going to be fine. You're going to be okay. This is not the case, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to say a word with you, but to keep you focused on staying strong till we can get Doc up here. I'm going to say a word with you, all right? He leans in and says a prayer with Trent quietly.
So I think shortly after that, Trent says to William, whispered in his breaking voice, you look after Jack's brother?
That's a promise. Yeah, you did something really heroic here today. Something really big.
Not without ye, I wouldn't have.
None of us would be here without you, and you know that, Jack. Trent, sorry.
Okay. We want to do epilogues now. Or fast forward, however short or long in time you want. Do it in the same order. Okay.
Who's up?
So Jack first, I think.
Yeah. I think it's it is Jack on the wagon. That same, like a brand new wagon, right? We can see that it is relatively recently purchased. Holding the reins, sitting in there with his younger brother, and he's holding the reins in his left hand because his right arm, the sleeve is pinned up on his shirt, right? And in the back, they've got a pine box that's covered in a tarpaulin. And he, stops in front of the church. And he sends Jimbo, his little brother, inside to ask William to come out. And William comes out, and Jack kind of tips his hat to him, and he says, "My uncle passed last night." Normally we just bury our kin up on the mountain, but I don't want him next to my mom. Can you?
Understood, Jack. Say no more. I'll take care of it here.
And I climb down off of the wagon, and I say to Jimbo, "You bring the wagon back when you're done." And I go walking into town.
Do you want to do a separate epilogue for William on top of that, or?
Sure. I think much later on in life, William's walking up in the canyon with some difficulty, with the cane, with maybe a younger preacher newly sent to the town, and brings him up to this old set of horse bones sitting there in kind of a charred circle. No grass is growing there. And then up near the wall, there's a cross with the name Trent on it. And he just points to that spot, and he's like, you young people won't believe this, but it's because of people like Trent there, my friend, agent of God, that we aren't plagued by nightmares and demons in this town. And you remember that, and you don't let any kids come up here in this canyon.
I think Cassie is so devastated by what happened to Trent that she maybe doesn't even stick around for the funeral. She leaves town right away. She heads east, and she finds herself kind of working her way up the Appalachian Trail. She feels like she has a new purpose to hunt similar demons and evils down and make sure this doesn't happen to anyone again, that no one loses the love that she did.
Okay, I think that's a good wrap. We've discovered Trent is dead, obviously. Yeah, I think that's a great place to cut it. I'll stop recording and we can have a chat afterwards. So thanks, everyone.